One of the most powerful men is betrayed by his closest allies, but he won't let them live without getting his revenge. On January 1st, 2020, the world changed forever. Dungeons appeared all around the world, and as monsters like goblins and orcs spawned and massacred cities, it seems like there was no hope for humanity. But then, mythical beings called Nimbus started to create heroes by granting them a special power known as the Authority. Many of the heroes, known as players, began to use their powers to selfishly gather money and authority. But one hero, Lee Se-jun, stood out as an angel among them all. Selected by the Executioner of the Holy Light as the first hero, Lee Se-jun was the most powerful player of them all, and was called the Messiah for his mission to defeat the final monster and end the game forever. Other heroes who believed in his dream quickly gathered to help him, and the Messiah Guild was formed. As we begin to follow our protagonist, Kim Woo-jin, we see that he had a hard life. He could never trust anyone because they always abandoned and harmed him. Slowly, he learned to rely on himself. He fought back. And as he grew stronger, he began to win against the people who hurt him. And when he later found the Messiah Guild, he found a place where he truly belonged. With all of the fighting expertise he had gained across his hard life, Woo-jin quickly helped them reach the final boss. Finally, the era where monsters killed thousands of innocents would end. But the Messiah, Lee Se-jun, betrayed him. He's stricken by Balmung's curse from Lee Se-jun's sword, and all of the power drains from his body. Worse yet, they use Viper's poison to kill him for good. I mean, apparently the stabbing and the OP ability from the super OP guy was not considered enough. As one of the other guild members, Park Shin-hye, explains, he was getting in the way of their true advantage. The Messiah Guild didn't want to save the world. They wanted to rule it, and they needed the game to stay active for their rule to continue. Anyway, what little trust in people Woo-jin had was shattered entirely. He realized that so many guild members lost before were killed by their traitorous leaders, and now he would die too. He demands to know why Lee Se-jun would betray him, but is left to die in silence. I thought the reason was pretty obvious. He wanted to rule the world, not save it. I mean, they literally just told you, Woo-jin. Just a moment later, Woo-jin collapses and dies right at the entrance of the final dungeon that would have saved their world. As he listens to voices chattering all around him, Woo-jin slowly wakes up. He's in a strange police van, and everyone around him is in uniform. Woo-jin is also in uniform, and he can't figure out how he got there. He only remembers the betrayal and dying from the stabbing, curse, and poison that were inflicted on him. He doesn't have much time to think about things, however, before their truck is forced to a stop by a giant herd of orcs. Everyone, including Woo-jin, steps out with their guns and begins to aim. Wait, they have guns in this world? Well, that would have come in handy just about 5 minutes ago. Since they don't have much ammo, the officers are arranging themselves to be cautious and precise. But before they can even take the first shot, Woo-jin is expertly dodging their clubs and clumsy attacks as he shoots the horde of orcs down. Even as the last orcs furiously try to defeat him, he's able to quickly take them down. The other officers are shocked into silence while the commanding officer is angry, but Woo-jin ignores it. Our brooding protagonist sulks by himself, thinking about the betrayal. Why ever he's still wondering about the betrayal but not about how he apparently respawned out of the blue beats me. Before he can ruminate for too long, a light appears before him. Within the light, there's a sign that states, "You are a player." It turns out that it's the same sign that had appeared before him in the past when he became a player in that world. Woo-jin had traveled back to the past to before he had become an impressive fighter and joined the Messiah Guild. The system presents him with options for roles he can take and fields in which he can specialize. But unlike in the past, there's a third option that reads, the Dark World's Surrogate, who are wielders of curses, poisons, and the undead. Along with the other members of the Messiah Guild, he once hunted down the previous surrogate, known as the Immortal King, Johann Kork, who used his omnipotent powers to gain all abilities in the world. He researched this powerful monster to understand how to defeat him, and decides that now he will become that same monster to defeat Lee Se-jun and get his revenge. And with that, our edgy protagonist has his new mission. Just like any other organization, Guilds are complex and represent the values of the members within them. The Messiah Guild, ranking number 1, is known for its idealism. The Phoenix Guild is the second highest ranking guild in Korea, but was filled with openly corrupt members who just wanted money and power. Disillusioned with idealism, Woojin decides to contract with the Phoenix Guild to begin gaining power. While he has to give part of his profits to the guild and can't afford a weapon yet, he does get his first power, hemotoxin, which allows him to turn his own blood into a powerful poison. Unfortunately, our brooding protagonist isn't popular with the other guild members. He's forced to be a hunting dog by the other members for his crappy personality, and has to keep watch for monsters. Later, they meet at an office for their first mission. Woojin arrives late in a beater car, and the other team members only begin to hate him more for being late and undisciplined. For their first mission, they'll be clearing out all of the goblins from a rank E dungeon. Woojin is excited. While he might not have a weapon or others to rely on, it's his lack of needing anyone that makes him truly free to get the power he seeks. They enter the forest dungeon, and everyone is now clothed in their respective fight outfits. Woojin is outfitted in clothes just as dark as his new personality, and when he's ordered to search the proximity of the camp, he stoically agrees. While the other team members thought they just tricked him into being bait, Woojin is happy. It's exactly what he expected, and everything is going according to plan. While this is happening, Messiah Guild gathers to meet the new member joining their next mission. His name is Suzuki, and his mysterious past with the other guild members quickly causes them to become furious. Yang Jiwoo, a burly member of the party, demands to know why he disrespected Lee Se-jun and had the gall to come to their meeting. Suzuki doesn't intend to back down from the angry party members, however. He's ambitious, and Lee Se-jun recognizes it. As Yang Jiwoo steps towards him, Suzuki mocks him, asking if he's just mad because of his intonation, or if he might be angry about what Suzuki did last time. The looming Jiwoo becomes enraged and prepares to strike at Suzuki before they're ordered to stop by a mysterious woman. Intimidated by her authority, Yang Jiwoo and Suzuki back off from their fight. Quietly, Jiwoo resolves to punish Suzuki the next chance he gets. I honestly think he should have taken the opportunity he had. It'll most certainly come back at him in the future. The mysterious woman, Park Shin-hye, gets straight to business and asks when they will be able to do their previously recommended work. It turns out to be 3 days, and as Lee Se-jun says, 3 days won't be bad at all. We can only wonder what they're up to now. In the meantime, Woojin sits on a high-up branch in a tree and inspects enormous gashes in the bark. I know we need to be rooting for our protagonist, but every chapter I understand a little more why everyone else thinks he's weird. Woojin is just up to his usual business though, and assumes to himself that the rumors he heard about the dungeon must be true. As Woojin notes, there's a lot of irony to his current mission. He was taught incredible investigation and combat techniques by Suzuki in the previous timeline to serve the Messiah Guild, and he would now apply this knowledge to survive and defeat Lee Se-jun. And continuing to plot and plan is exactly what he'll do. As Suzuki taught him, even the strongest person in the world has a weakness. But finding information and making a plan will help that person survive. Woojin resolves himself to be that person. Woojin jumps down from the upper branches of the tree. How does he not break his legs with some of these stunts? In any case, Woojin isn't given a chance to recover from his flawless jump. A trio of goblins quickly begin to attack, and Woojin slashes his palm as he prepares to fight back with his hemotoxin. He slashes at one of the goblins with his blood-soaked blade, and while it froths at the mouth and twitches, it continues to fight just as alertly. As Woojin notices, his hemotoxin ability isn't very potent yet. He decides to finish off one of the other goblins with a well-thrown knife, but because he's taken so long to fight, another horde of goblins appear. Just as we begin to wonder if Woojin will get any slower, he draws his Goblin Lord's whip and prepares to annihilate the now terrified masses of goblins. Meanwhile, in the forest, the party that abandoned Woojin proceeds alone, but just as they let their guard down, goblins begin to charge towards them. The mage is almost clubbed by one of the fastest goblins before their leader, Ju So-pyong, strikes the goblin down with his blade. He encourages them to all fight back, considering that it's just mere goblins. This is a pretty bold team to be so bad at fighting, considering how they kicked Woojin out. After seeing Hyung's victory against the first goblin and hearing his brief speech, everyone is inspired to fight back. This, of course, doesn't last long. Jusop-hyung is taken by surprise when he can't pull his sword from the dead goblin, and another one takes it as an opportunity to club him to the ground. The other team members cower as he begs them to fight back and save his life. Man, this team really sucks. Just as it seems like the cowardly team will die, the goblins suddenly begin to cower themselves or to run in fear. Woojin has arrived with his Goblin Lord's whip, and he quickly begins to strike down any within reach. The goblins are even weaker than he thought, and he has no trouble killing them all before nonchalantly leaving. He's impressed by the stupidity of his other party members, bringing unwieldy weapons to fight when the whip was easier and more powerful. I think Woojin could do really well leading a team or guild of his own, but it almost seems like he enjoys watching people fail and proving them wrong. To each their own, I guess. Despite his incredible success earlier in the day, the 4 now injured party members find themselves sitting defeated on the forest floor and wondering what happened to Woojin. They're pretty sure he's dead, wrong, and are also angry at Jusop-hyung because of his failures as a leader, even though he was the only one who fought. Man, I really can't understate how much these guys suck. Just as it seems like the situation will get even more depressing, they're terrified as they hear loud noises coming from the forest. As it turns out, Woojin is working just as hard as ever. He's worked so hard, in fact, that the Dark Lord surrogate awards him with another skill: Skeleton Disease. This is impressively early, but it's no surprise that the edgiest overlord would recognize his edgiest follower. As Woojin opens his catalog, he thinks about when he first learned of this ability. Fighting Johan Kork, the Immortal King. It allowed Johan to have an incredibly powerful undead army, but was limited by the fact that only monsters Johan directly killed could be sacrificed to create new soldiers. Reminding himself to remember this limitation, Woojin decides to sacrifice one of the goblins he killed and create his first new soldier. As the goblin's corpse is consumed by the magic, a terrifying skeleton soldier emerges. Its eyes glow with power, and for what seems like the first time he's ever liked something, Woojin is impressed with its power. So since Woojin can't have competent teammates, he has to literally make them himself. I'll take note of this for future group projects. Even though he's impressed, Woojin still thinks that the skeleton soldier doesn't seem powerful enough. Assuming it's because of his low magic stat, he gives the soldier a pat on the head. He's kind of convincing me the soldier is adorable. Before looking at his surroundings, bodies are hanging from the tree nearby, and he resolves himself to kill the monster that harmed the weak so cruelly. If you're hyped about Kill the Hero and want to see a part 2, please don't forget to comment "Kill the Hero Part 2 now" in the comment section and give the video a like for good measure.